Everyone, it's your boy Kai. I'm back to do a part 2 video, part 2 of the LGBTQIA terminology videos. Yeah. Um, the last definition that we talked about was LGBT/GLBT, which obviously is that alphabet soup, which could encompass LGBTQIA and anything in between. Alphabet soup. Next definition I want to talk about is queer. Traditionally, a negative term, a derogatory term, queer has been appropriated by some LGBT people to describe themselves, which basically means that queer has been reclaimed by some LGBTQIA members, people in the community, as a way to describe themselves. And however, it is not universally accepted, even within the LGBTQIA community, which means not everyone agrees with the reclamation of the word queer, and it is still highly offensive to many people. So it should be avoided unless describing someone who self-identifies that way, or in a direct quote. And when Q is seen at the end of LGBT or an LGBTQIA Q, it typically means queer and or questioning. So we went over that a little bit with the LGBT/GLBT definition, but now you guys see what I mean by, the reclamation of queer. Some people took that word back and self-identify as queer, and other people will be highly offended and very upset if you call them queer. So do not call everyone in the LGBTQIA community queer. We are not all queer, and a lot of people do not identify as queer. They will not identify as queer. It's just offensive. Okay, so just respect people. Just don't make the LGBTQIA, one big queer community, because a lot of people do not identify as queer, so it is not true to call this one big queer community. That's not what this is. Okay, just want to throw that out there. We are the LGBTQIA, not a queer community. Queer is also like a different subgroup within the LGBTQIA, and those people that reclaim the word self-identify as queer. But again, many people do not self-identify as queer, so just avoid that unless you know for sure. Heterosexual. Heterosexual is an adjective used to describe people whose enduring physical, romantic, and or emotional attraction is to people of the opposite sex. Also straight. Like a heterosexual man, a heterosexual woman. We know what heterosexual is. Homosexual. Excuse me. Homosexual is also in the list of offensive terms to avoid, and we went over homosexual actually, but there's a definition. Homosexual is an outdated clinical term considered derogatory and offensive by many gay and lesbian people. The Associated Press, New York Times, and Washington Post restrict usage of the term gay and or lesbian accurately describe those who are attracted to people of the same sex. So remember that homosexual is seen as being derogatory and offensive to some people, so it should really be avoided. Just, gay man, lesbian, word terms like that are a lot more accurate. Homophobia is the fear of lesbians and gay men. Intolerance or prejudice is usually a more accurate description of antipathy. I think antipathy. I've never said that word out loud before other than right now, so I probably fucked it up, but I'm sorry. I tried. But like antipathy toward LGBTQI people. So I know that one's kind of debated on a lot. What is homophobia? What is biphobia? What is transphobia? But yeah. So from what this is saying is basically homophobia is really just the fear of lesbians and gay men, and that the intolerance or prejudice is usually a more accurate description of antipathy towards the LGBTQIA community. I know a lot of people probably are going to debate that and question that, which is fine. You may question everything. But for the sake of just not being confusing, I'm just using the GLAD definition. So even if you don't agree with something, it doesn't always mean I agree with the definition or I fully understand. But again, these videos are meant to be as a reference, and even for myself. You know, I'm still learning terminology, and things are changing all the time. Terms are changing and updating all the time. So just kind of keep current. It's nice to keep current with issues and terms and different things. Next is biphobia. Biphobia is the fear of bisexuals, often based on stereotypes, including inaccurate associations with infidelity, promiscuity, with them being promiscuous, and transmission of sexually transmitted diseases. Intolerance or prejudice is usually, again, a more accurate description of antipathy toward bisexual people. Next definition is coming out. Coming out is a lifelong process of self-acceptance. That's big. Okay, they didn't say, oh, you know, other people accepting you. It said coming out is a lifelong process of self-acceptance. Okay, so accepting who you are, basically. People forge a lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender identity first to themselves, and then they may reveal it to others. So this definition is emphasizing you, the importance of you, the importance of self-acceptance, which is the acceptance of oneself, and then others. Okay, just so we're clear. Publicly sharing one's identity may or may not be part of coming out. Okay. Out. The definition is out. Out is a person who self-identifies as lesbian, gay, bisexual, and or transgender in their personal, public, and or professional lives. For example, Ricky Martin is an out pop star from Puerto Rico, referred to as openly gay. So, openly gay, out. Okay, there we go, and the nice little Ricky Martin example there. Openly gay. Moving on. Openly gay describes people who self-identify as gay in their personal, public, and or professional lives. Also known as openly lesbian, openly bisexual, openly transgender, openly whatever you identify as, basically. While accurate and commonly used, the phrase still implies a confessional aspect to publicly acknowledging one's sexual orientation or gender identity, which basically means that, like, it still implies that you're confessing that you're gay. Like, oh, I'm gay, I'm a lesbian, I'm trans. But it's straight people don't have to do that. Heterosexuals, aka straight people, don't have to come out and be openly heterosexual. Okay, so yes, I am openly trans. There are open lesbians. They are openly lesbian. There are gay men that are openly gay, and there are heterosexuals that just are seen as heterosexual. They're not seen as openly heterosexual. You see how we have, like, I forget the term. Thinking of all these terms, and now I'm forgetting terms, but, oh, double standard in society. So, I mean, it's just something to think about. Closeted. Closeted describes a person who is not open about his or her sexual orientation or gender identity. Better to simply refer to someone as not out about being lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. Outing is the act of publicly declaring, sometimes based on rumor and or speculation, or revealing another person's sexual orientation or gender identity without that person's consent, considered inappropriate by a large portion of the LGBTQIA community. Again, this is not the person outing themselves. That would be openly. They're being open about it. Outing is when someone else outs you. Okay, let's say I'm supposed to be your friend or whatever, and you confide in me, and you are a lesbian. You're a closeted lesbian, okay? You tell me. You're supposed to be revealing this big, huge secret that could heavily impact your life with me, and I'm supposed to be your best friend, right? Let's say I don't know, sexual orientation and gender identity doesn't even matter for this example, for me. So you're a lesbian, and I'm like, oh, wow, I'm not going to tell anyone. And then 5 seconds later, I go to one of my friends and say, did you know so-and-so is a lesbian? Now, what did I just do? I outed you. You did not out yourself to that person. I outed you. So that's called outing. Okay. Now, this video is already at like 10:30, so let me cut it off, and we'll do a part 3 and get some more terminology out of the way. That way, again, these can be used as references. I should probably put what terminology is used in the videos in the description. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but hey, I might. I don't know. But alright, hold on, because I'm about to do a part 3.